I'm looking at this sign that says, "Hey, Skelos, try growing." And I was just wondering if there's any significance to the blue. But anyway, let's get back on topic here. Sorry. Standing next to me is one of the longtime proponents of the Second Amendment in the Assembly. He's from Western New York. A great guy. Did I hear a woo? Yeah! Anybody here from Fairport, New York? I'm just wondering, that's where I grew up, that's in Western New York. But anyway, I'd like to introduce to you Assemblyman Cliff Crouch. Here you
are. Thank you. First off, thank you all for coming, and a special thank you to all the women for coming. A lot of people think this is a testosterone game here. It is not. It's a game for all of us, women, children, everybody is involved. Because it's important for us as parents to take the shooting sports to our children and show them how to be safe and get them involved, and that includes involvement of many of the women. I'm proud of all the women that are here for standing up. Great, we love it. I was interviewed by a reporter this morning, and he said, "Do you think there's any coincidence that because there's going to be so many people supporting the Second Amendment, being against the SAFE Act, that the governor is not in town today?" Well, I can't speak for the governor's office, but I said I thought it was kind of a coincidence. Sure.
He isn't part of New York.
My understanding is the governor's down in the city and maybe out on Long Island. We need to send a message. Repeal this law. Repeal this law. Repeal this law. You've got to make him hear you. That's right. Repeal this law.
Repeal this law.
Good. We're going to send the message. We're going to keep on fighting. I represent good share of Broome County, piece of Shenango, Delaware, small piece of Otsego County. Good, honest, law-abiding citizens, good, honest, law-abiding gun owners.
Yeah.
We are not criminals. We are not criminals here in this crowd. We refuse to be called and made criminals by taking our Second Amendment rights away. We will not stand for this. Thank you so much for being here today. We're going to stand up with you, and you need to keep standing up with us. Thanks for coming. God bless you. God bless America.
Thanks, Cliff. The next person I'm going to bring up really doesn't need any introduction. Now, who said that? Did you pay him? My brother! Greg has been coming to the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association events until he was, back when he was still a freshman. He has always stood up for our rights. He has always been outspoken in our cause, whether it was in the Assembly or the Senate. He's a man that I respect greatly because he says what he believes and he believes what he says. With all due respect, I want to bring up my friend Senator Greg Ball. Senator Ball!
How's everybody doing? Okay? What a damn state we live in. Can we put all the other signs? You can put them back up, but leave those American flags up for a second. Take those signs down, and everybody who's a veteran, can you raise your hand? I want American flags up, and I want the hands of the veterans. And I want everybody to be quiet for 1 second. The first thing I want to do is to our veterans, I want to thank each and every one of you. God bless you and each and every one of you for your service. A round of applause for those vets out there tonight. I know you Coast Guard and Air Force guys like me are starting to take your hands down. Put those damn hands back up for the veterans. 1 second. Governor Cuomo, and I know you're watching. The only guy that watches his poll numbers more in this state than Governor Cuomo is Chuck Schumer. Governor Cuomo, everybody 1 second. Governor Cuomo, look at the hands that are up today. You're turning World War II vets, Vietnam vets, the folks that returned from Iraq and Afghanistan, you're turning these men and women into criminals. Shame on you! This governor, and I know you're not going to admit it today, and that's okay. You give him hell. But if I took a poll a year and a half ago and those polls were out there, this governor was sportsman, did exceedingly well. For 2 years, this governor focused on jobs and taxes. He told us he was a reincarnated Ronald Reagan. Now he's trying to be the second coming of Joe Biden, and he's doing a damn bad job. This governor is focused on one single factor. When you look at that piece of legislation that was forced through that legislature, there's blame to go around. There's one man who should take full responsibility. There's not a single patriot here. And I can tell you that I have never felt safer in this Capitol than right now. And I know the state police protecting us today would say the exact same thing. There's not a single man or woman here that wouldn't do everything in our power to protect our fellow neighbors. But this governor's focus wasn't saving lives. It was protecting his life, his political life, and the political life of a governor who wants to be president. And that was his only concern. Guys, a lot of you may wish that you were in a place like South Carolina or Texas. I don't know if you check the weather, you're not. You've got to understand, I tried. I have a priest on my staff, so I have a good connection. The sun came out. You got to understand something, and we've got to keep this fight. This is the civil rights fight of our time. You listen to me. You look at what's happening to this country. Piece by piece, legislation by legislation, administration by administration. They're taking our independence and our freedom, not through a foreign government, but through duly elected officials, through our democratic process, elected by some of our neighbors, to use our democratic process to take our freedoms away. Our friends in states like South Carolina and Texas may think that the fight is many generations ahead. It's not. And it has just begun right here. And you have to understand that that piece of legislation that was pushed down, especially when you look towards that assembly that I spent 4 years in, I think prison is better than time in the New York State Assembly. You have members of the New York State Assembly south of 125th Street that quite honestly couldn't tell the front end of a white-tailed deer from the back end of a thoroughbred horse. But they're introducing search and seizure bills every other second to go after all of you. Why? I need you to listen. I'm going to get out of here because I need you to understand this. You've got to understand that we live in a state where the vast majority of people, especially in the assembly that serve in that legislature, they would rather turn all of you into criminals and go after you than go after the real criminals, because they view the thugs using illegal guns that are killing kids every day, they view them as the victims. They view you as the problem. And that is what you are up against in this state.
We're easier to.
You are not here to fight for you. You are here to fight for generations ahead throughout this country, for your sons, for your grandchildren, and for this country. Because if we lose this fight, we will have lost this country. We have got to stand together, and you've got to make sure that we work with our neighbors and we wake them up to this reality. I promise you this. This is a tough, disgusting, nasty business, and I don't know how long I'm going to be in politics. But as long as I'm in politics, I will stand shoulder to shoulder with you, and I will fight with you until hell freezes over, and then I'll fight on the ice.
Good job. Hey, I gotta do a little bit of housekeeping here, or I'm not going to be able to go back to my office. Brenda Leader, who works for the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association, is under the tent over here, and she has applications for membership to the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association, and also a box to collect some donations to help defray the cost of the legal foundation, our legal action. You know, if you want, you can. I'm not urging you to do it. I just wanted to let you know that that's there. Without further ado, you want to say something? I have an interesting person for you to talk to here, Assemblyman Kieran Lawler. I think you're going to like what he's going to say. Assemblyman?
Thank you. When I was a kid, this was a free country. And I asked myself, will my children and our children and grandchildren be able to say that? And there are times when I've doubted. And then I looked out today and I saw a sea of thousands upon thousands of veterans and citizens and patriots. And I know that we start turning things around today. Today's the day. A century ago, there was a great war hero and a great New Yorker who became president. And he said, very famously, walk softly, but carry a big stick. Teddy Roosevelt. I want to update that for the 21st century. Walk softly, but carry a big crowd of 10,000 freedom-loving patriots. Proud of the fact that I am the only United States Marine in the state legislature. I carried a machine gun in Iraq, Japan, Ukraine, and a few other places around the world. And I learned a thing or two in the Marine Corps that our governor needs to learn. First of all, we have core values: honor, courage, and commitment. Those are the core values of the Marine Corps. And I ask our governor, honor your oath to our Constitution. Have the courage to stand up to the anti-Second Amendment special interests and power brokers. And Governor Cuomo, where is your commitment to the law-abiding gun owners in this state? Everyone knows the motto of the Marine Corps, Semper Fidelis, Latin for always faithful. And this is my final message for the governor. We're not going away. We're going to remain always faithful to each other, always faithful to our country, always faithful to our Constitution, and always faithful to the Second Amendment. Thank you very much. All right.
Great comments from an American hero. You know, I'm looking around, I see all these signs, you know, and everybody is suggesting, you know, we need a rallying cry. And I saw, I think, a perfect one on the sign out here. It's short, and well, that one too, but this is, we're going to deal first with the SAFE Act, okay? And I don't see the sign, but I really like repeal, no deal. Or no deal, repeal. That's coming in November. That's coming in November, okay? Well, there's some things, we can talk about that at a later date, but there's a lot of roadblocks to that. Anyway, let's move on. Who do we have coming up? Come up here. We have
We can do
a
it.
very, very pro-gun assemblywoman here, and I'm sorry, Senator. Excuse me. Yes, and she's. I'm sure she's going to tell you exactly how she feels about this as well.
Hey.
First, I have to start off by just saying, wow. I honestly can't believe how many people are here, how many of you came to have your voices heard. I'm so impressed and want to thank you for coming out and standing with all of us. And thank you for bringing that sign that says, I'm a mom and a grandmother and here to defend and to protect your future and rights. As an avid sportswoman myself, I'm glad to see so many sportsmen and women here, but we all know it's not about sports rights. It's not about what some people may pretend it's about. It's about the Second Amendment, and it's about the Constitution, and it's about what makes me be proud to be an American, and I'm sure all of you. So I just want to say thank you once again, and a little shout out to the 48th Senate District. I know they came all the way from the North Country and all the way from Central New York. Thank you, because my family is one of the families that now would be considered lawbreakers. So I'm here to stand with you, and great to see everyone out. Thank you again.
Thank you, Senator Pat Ritchie. Senator Ritchie. Next up, friend of mine, friend of the people from Remington, Senator Jim Seward. Jim.
Thank you very much, Tom, and thank all of you for being here. I am very proud to represent the 51st Senatorial District. It starts in Ulster County, Delaware County, Schoharie County, Otsego County, Shenango County, Cortland County, Tompkins, Cayuga, and finally Herkimer County, the home of Remington Arms. And I'm very proud of my A+ rating with the NRA, and I'm proud to be one of the 18 no votes on the governor's gun bill. This is my 27th year as a state senator. I have never seen a crowd like this at the Capitol. Governor Cuomo, you have awakened a sleeping giant, and we're not going away. The silent majority is not going to be quiet anymore. Now look, I, as a father, as a grandfather, I was as horrified as anyone with what went on out there at Sandy Hook at that school, what went on up at Rochester with our first responders being killed. I was horrified. But I understand the sensitivities of gun violence, but I also recognize the reality of gun violence. It's the criminal element, it's the dangerously mentally ill. It is not you, the responsible, law-abiding gun owners of New York State. You are not the problem. And we need to respect that and to stand up for your Second Amendment rights and our rights as Americans. Now, did you see what the reports yesterday? The governor and Shelley Silver, they're talking about an amendment to the gun bill. They want to exempt the Hollywood elite. So they can come to New York, be exempt from this law, and continue to make violent movies with guns that have helped to create the culture of violence that has been part of the problem. I say, let's not exempt the Hollywood elite. Let's exempt law-abiding New Yorkers from this law. So I'm simply here to say, let's do something meaningful about gun violence. Let's get tougher on criminals. Let's deal with the dangerously mentally ill that fall through the cracks. Let's leave the law-abiding gun owners of New York alone. And I want to say one word to my friends here from Remington Arms with all the green shirts. I'm going to stand up for the 1,300 plus good jobs in upstate New York. And we can do that by repealing this act. So thank you all for being here. We're going to continue to rally. We're going to continue to speak out. We're going to continue to vote against the bills like this and for repeal. We're going to back up Tom King's court challenge to this bill, and we are not going away, and we are going to register to vote and vote for people who will stand up for your rights. Ladies and gentlemen, God bless you. Thank you for being here. I'm proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with all of you.
Kind of makes me proud to be a New Yorker. Let's see. Who have you got coming up next? Come up here. There you go.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. I'm State Senator Tom O'Mara from the Southern Tier and Finger Lakes region, a proud member of the NRA and Scope, and I voted no on the SAFE Act. We have never seen a crowd like this here in Albany. This is the largest crowd I have ever spoken before, and I love it. We need more of this. We need more of this across the state. More of it here in Albany to do the hard work that we need to do to repeal the SAFE Act. The SAFE Act was rammed through. I waited in line here longer today to speak than I had the bill on my desk to review and to vote on it. That's how fast it was rammed through. It's a terrible, disgusting process. A message of necessity for something like this to infringe upon our constitutional rights is an outrage. You know, the governor talks about taking 10 shots to shoot a deer. And I have some of the finest deer hunting in the state in my district. No self-respecting hunter would ever dream of using 10 shots to shoot a deer. And we all know it's not about deer hunting or hunting anything else. It's about our basic Second Amendment constitutional right. I'm glad you're all here. Let's keep up the hard work and this progress to do away with this unreasonable infringement on our Second Amendment rights, to do away with the unfunded mandate that it places on our county governments, and to do away with it making criminals out of our law enforcement officers because of the hasty way this was rushed through and the problems inherent in the way this law was written. Thank you very much. Keep up the hard work.
Senator, thank you. Thank you. Next guy in line here is a personal friend of mine. I've known him for a long time. Up until a few months ago, he was the assemblyman who represented Remington. Through redistricting, he got put into a little different area, but he's still in Herkimer County, Herkimer and Fulton counties, and he's been an advocate for the Second Amendment rights since I've known him, and that's been about 12 years. We've been traveling around the state for the past couple of weeks with I'm sorry, I'm having a little difficulty. We've been traveling around the state with some town hall meetings explaining the SAFE Act, and just had an unbelievable response from the people in New York, just like this, but on a much smaller